Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, dear listener. What if everything you're chasing right now is not what you think it is? Not because it doesn't exist, but because it doesn't last. You wake up every day with goals, plans, desires. You think about success, money, recognition, relationships. You measure your progress by what you gain, what you achieve, what people see. And slowly, without realizing it, your entire life becomes centered around a world that was never meant to stay. This dunya feels real, it feels permanent, but that's the illusion, because everything you see around you is already fading. The moments you once waited for are now memories. The things you once dreamed of either lost their value or never satisfied you the way you thought they would, and yet you keep chasing as if the next thing will finally be enough. But it never is. That's how this world works. It promises, but it doesn't fulfill. It gives, but it doesn't last. And the more you attach your heart to it, the more it takes from you. Look around. People spend years building something, only to lose it in a moment. Wealth disappears, status fades, beauty changes. Even the people you love are not guaranteed to stay. Nothing here is stable. Nothing here is truly yours. And deep down, you already know that. You felt it before, that emptiness after achieving something you once thought would change everything. That quiet realization that even when things are going well, something still feels incomplete. That feeling is not random. It's a reminder that you were not created for this world. But the danger is, most people ignore it. They distract themselves, they fill their time, they chase harder, as if running faster will somehow solve a problem that was never meant to be solved here. And slowly, the illusion becomes stronger. You begin to believe that this is all there is, that success here is everything, that happiness here is the goal. But what if it's not? What if this life is not the destination, but the test? What if everything you're running after is only temporary, designed to see where your heart truly belongs? Because the truth is, this dunya was never meant to satisfy you. It was meant to expose you, to show you what you prioritize, to reveal what you love, to test what you're willing to sacrifice. And that's why, no matter how much you gain, it never feels complete. Because completeness was never placed here. It was placed somewhere else, somewhere permanent, somewhere untouched by loss, untouched by fear, untouched by endings. But to reach that, you have to first break this illusion. You have to see this world for what it truly is. Not evil, not worthless, but temporary. A place you pass through, not a place you belong to. And once you begin to see that, everything changes. Your priorities shift, your worries feel smaller, your attachments loosen, because you realize you were holding on to something that was never meant to stay. And that realization is powerful, because it prepares you for something greater, something real, something that does not fade. Because if this world feels so real, yet disappears so easily, then what about a world that never ends? What about a place where nothing is taken away? What about a life where every desire is fulfilled without fear of losing it? That place exists, not as imagination, not as hoped, but as a promise. And once you truly understand that, you will never look at this world the same way again. What if the life you've been hoping for already exists? Not in this world, not in something you build, not in something you achieve, but in a place Allah has already prepared, Jannah. Not a symbol, not a metaphor, not a distant idea meant to comfort you. A real place, more real than anything you have ever experienced. And that is where most people misunderstand, because when they hear about Jannah, they imagine it through the limits of this world. They think of gardens like the ones they've seen, rivers like the ones they know, homes like the ones they live in. But Jannah is not like this world. It is beyond it. The Prophet ﷺ said that in Jannah are things no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard, and no heart has ever imagined. Pause there. Everything you've ever found beautiful, every place that took your breath away, every moment that felt perfect, none of it compares, not even close. Because Jannah is not just better than this world, it is a completely different level of existence. In this world, beauty fades. In Jannah, it increases. In this world, happiness is temporary. In Jannah, it is permanent. In this world, you fear losing what you love. In Jannah, loss does not exist. And yet, despite all of this, people treat it like a distant possibility, like something abstract, something they'll think about later. But Allah does not describe Jannah like that. He describes it with detail, with imagery, with clarity, gardens beneath which rivers flow, shade that never disappears, homes built from gold and silver, clothing of silk, peace that is uninterrupted. This is not vague, this is specific. Because Jannah is not meant to be imagined as a concept, it is meant to be desired as a destination. And still, many hearts remain attached to this world. Why? Because what you see feels more real than what you don't. This dunya is in front of your eyes. Jannah is unseen, and that is the test. Will you live for what you see or for what Allah has promised? Because belief in Jannah is not just about knowing it exists. It is about living as if it matters. It is about making decisions based on a future you have not yet seen, but trust completely. And that level of trust is rare. Most people delay it. I'll focus on it later. I'll change when I'm older. I just need to enjoy life first. But here is the reality. You don't know how much time you have. And Jannah is not something you drift into. It is something you choose through your actions, through your sacrifices, through what you prioritize when it's difficult. Because every moment in this life is leading somewhere, not randomly, not without purpose, either closer to Jannah or further away from it. And that is what makes this serious, because while Jannah is beyond imagination, it is not automatic. It requires something from you, not perfection, but effort, not flawlessness, but sincerity, and the willingness to choose Allah, even when this world pulls you in the opposite direction. Because the truth is, everyone wants Jannah, but not everyone is willing to live for it. And that's where the difference is made, between those who hear about it and those who reach it. Because Jannah is not a myth. It is not a story meant to inspire you and then be forgotten. It is a promise from Allah. And when Allah promises something, it is more certain than anything you see in front of you right now, which means the real question is not whether Jannah exists. The real question is, are you living like it does? Imagine this moment, not as a distant dream, but as something real, something that could happen to you. After everything, after the struggles, after the doubts, after the sins you fought and the ones you regret. After standing on the day where everything is exposed, you make it, you are saved. And now you stand at the entrance of Jannah. Pause there, because nothing in your life compares to this moment. Not your greatest success, not your happiest day, not anything you've ever felt before. This is different. The gates are in front of you, massive, beautiful, beyond anything your mind can fully process. And as they open, it is not just a door that opens. It is a reality you were promised, now becoming real in front of your eyes. And the first thing you feel is peace. Not temporarily calm, not relief that fades, but a deep, overwhelming peace that settles into your heart in a way you have never experienced before. No anxiety, no fear, no weight. Everything that used to sit on your chest in this world is gone, completely. You step forward, and with that step, something else disappears. Every pain you ever carried, every sadness you ever felt, every moment that broke you, it no longer exists. not hidden, not suppressed, gone, as if it was never there, and in its place, something else begins, a feeling you don't even have words for, because in this world, happiness always has limits. But here, there are none. You look around, and what you see does not feel real. Gardens stretching further than your eyes can reach. Rivers flowing with a clarity and beauty that no water in this world has ever matched. Colors are more vivid. The air is pure. Everything alive in a way that feels different. And yet, there is something even more powerful. You belong here, not as a visitor, not temporarily, but forever. That realization alone is overwhelming, because for the first time, you are in a place where nothing will be taken away from you. No endings, no loss, no fear of what if this disappears? Because it won't, ever. And then, you are welcomed. Angels greet you, not with distance, but with warmth. Peace be upon you. You have done well, so enter it, to abide eternally. Words that carry honor, recognition, acceptance, not for perfection, but for every moment you tried. Every time you resisted something for the sake of Allah, every time you held on when it was difficult, every time you chose what was right, even when it costs you. Nothing was forgotten, not a single effort. And now you see the result. You are guided to your place, your home, and as you approach it, you realize something. This is yours, not borrowed, not temporary, yours, built for you, prepared for you, waiting for you, long before you even realized it existed. You enter, and everything inside is exactly what your heart desires, not what you used to think you wanted, but what you truly wanted, beyond the limitations of this world. And as you take it in, something settles deep within you, a certainty. This is it. This is what you were created for. Not the stress, not the endless chasing, not the temporary highs and inevitable lows of dunya, but this. And suddenly, everything from your past makes sense, the struggles, patience, the moments you almost gave up to, but didn't. It was all leading here, every step, every decision, every sacrifice. And now, standing in Jannah, you realize something that changes everything. If you could go back to your life in dunya, knowing what you know now, you would never choose it over this. Not for a second, because this is not just better, it is beyond comparison. And that realization is what makes Jannah not just a reward, but a reality that makes everything before it feel small. And just when you think this is already beyond anything you imagined, you begin to realize something you've only just entered. Because Jannah is not a single moment, it is an endless experience. Every step forward reveals something new, not repetitive, not predictable, but constantly increasing in beauty, in depth, in amazement. You walk through gardens, but these are not like the gardens of this world. The al-ard beneath you feels soft, alive. The air carries a fragrance that calms your heart before you even understand it. Trees rise high, but not just in height, in perfection. And then you notice something, the fruits hanging low within your reach. Not something you struggle to get, not something that requires effort. You simply desire, and it is there. You take one, and the taste. There are no words. Because in this world, even the best experiences fade. The first bite is always the best, and then it slowly becomes normal. But in Jannah, it doesn't. Every bite feels new. Every taste feels better than the last. No disappointment, no decline, only increase. And then the rivers, not just water, rivers of milk, pure, unchanged, rivers of honey and smooth, perfect, rivers of drink, that bring joy without harm, without regret, without loss of control, flowing endlessly. You stand near them, and you realize something. There is no rush, no time pressure, no feeling of this moment will pass. Because it won't. This is your reality now, and as you continue, you see homes, Not houses like this world, palaces built with a beauty that cannot be compared, bricks of gold and silver, structures that reflect light in ways your eyes have never seen before, spacious, perfect, designed not just for living, but for joy. And they are yours, not earned in the way this world measures success, but granted by Allah, because of moments no one else saw, moments where you chose Him over everything else. And then, something even deeper, the people. You are not alone. You are reunited with those you loved, who believed. No separation, no misunderstandings, no pain between hearts, only purity, only connection, only love that is clean, complete, and permanent. And you sit together, talking, laughing, remembering, but even those memories feel different, because they no longer carry pain, only meaning, only gratitude. And then you realize something else. Your heart is different. There is no jealousy, no anger, no insecurity. Nothing negative remains, because Jannah is not just a change in environment, it is a transformation of your entire being. You are not the same person you were in dunya. You are better, complete. And as you move through this world, you begin to understand why Allah described it the way He did, because no matter how much you imagine, you will always fall short, because Jannah is not built on limitations, it is built on perfection. And every time you think this is enough, you are shown something more, something greater, something that makes what you just experienced feel small in comparison. And yet, there is no overwhelm, only peace, only joy, only a constant sense of being satisfied while still receiving more. And this is where the contrast becomes undeniable, because everything you chased in dunya was limited. It had an end, it had nucks, it had disappointment hidden within it. But here, there is none, and suddenly, the entire life you once thought was everything feels like a moment, very small, temporary moment, because what you have now is everything you were actually searching for, and more, much more. And just when you think nothing could be greater than this, you are about to realize you haven't even experienced the greatest reward yet. There is a moment that surpasses every ne'mat you have experienced in Jannah. Not the rivers, not the palaces, not the endless joy, something greater, something that makes everything else feel small. The people of Jannah are gathered, not in fear, not in uncertainty, but in anticipation, because something has been promised. And when Allah promises something, it is not ordinary. Then it is said to them, "Do you want more?" Pause. More? What could possibly be more than what they already have? They are in Jannah. They have everything they could ever desire. No pain, no loss, no nucks. So they respond, "What more could we want? Have you not brightened our faces? Have you not admitted us into Jannah and saved us from the fire?" Everything they ever hoped for has already been given. And then the greatest moment begins. The veil is lifted, not a metaphor, not symbolic, real, and they see Allah. There are no words for this, because this is not like seeing anything in this world. This is not beauty in the way you understand it. This is not something your mind can fully process. This is the Creator, the one you believed in without seeing, the one you prayed to when no one else was there, the one you trusted when life didn't make sense. Now, you see Him. And in that moment, everything else disappears, not physically, but in value, because nothing compares, nothing even comes close. The joy of Jannah is elevated to something beyond anything you have felt before, and you realize something. Every act of worship, every moment of patience, every sacrifice you made was worth it. Not because of Jannah itself, but because it led to this, to see Allah, and that is the true reward. Because Jannah, no matter how perfect, is still creation, but this moment is a connection to the Creator, and that changes everything. Because in dunya, you believed without seeing, you prayed without hearing a response in words, you hoped without witnessing the result immediately. But now, there is no unseen anymore. There is no barrier, only reality. And that reality is more powerful than anything you have ever known. Time passes, or at least what feels like time, because at that moment, you don't measure it. You don't think about anything else. You don't want anything else. And when that moment ends, you return to Jannah. But something is different. Your joy is deeper. Your satisfaction is complete in a way it wasn't before, because you have experienced something greater than all of it. And now you understand why the greatest reward was never described in detail, because it cannot be described. It can only be experienced. And this is where everything changes, because now, when you think about dunya, when you think about the things you once struggled to leave, the sins you found difficult to avoid, the distractions that pulled you away, they feel insignificant, because none of them lead to this. Only one path does, and that path was always clear, but not always easy, and that is why this moment is reserved, not for those who knew, but for those who chose. Choose Allah when it is difficult. Choose obedience when it requires sacrifice. Choose the unseen over what was in front of them. And now they see, and that sight is worth more than everything else combined. And as this realization settles, one final question remains. If this is what is waiting for you, then why does this world still feel so important? And now, you're back. Back to this world. Back to your routine. Back to the same life you were living before you imagined all of this. Nothing around you has changed, but something inside you should have. Because once you truly understand what Jannah is, once you feel even a glimpse of it, you cannot look at this world the same way again. You can't chase it the same way. You can't love it the same way. You can't depend on it the same way. Because now you know that everything here ends, every moment, every success, every attachment. It either leaves you or you leave it. And that realization is not meant to make you hopeless. It's meant to wake you up. Because this life was never the reward. It was always the opportunity, an opportunity to earn something greater. But the problem is, most people don't live like that. They delay, they get comfortable, they convince themselves they have time. I'll change later. I'll get serious later. I just need to fix a few things first. But later is never guaranteed. And deep down, you know that. You've seen how quickly things change, how suddenly life can shift, how people are here one moment and gone the next. This dunya does not come with warnings. It does not tell you when your time is about to end. And that's what makes this serious. Because Jannah is not something you prepare for at the end of your life. It is something you prepare for every single day, in small choices, in quiet moments, in decisions no one else sees. Every time you choose to pray, when you don't feel like it, every time you hold back from something you know is wrong, every time you remember Allah, when your mind is distracted, it counts, even when it feels small, because those small moments build something bigger, something that leads somewhere, and that somewhere is either Jannah or not. There is no neutral path. And that's what most people avoid thinking about, because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to ask questions you don't always want to answer. Where am I heading? If my life ended today, would I be ready? Not perfect, but I'm ready. Because perfection was never required, sincerity was, effort was, turning back even after falling was. And that door is still open, right now. As long as you're breathing, it's not too late, but it won't stay open forever. And that's the part you can't ignore, because one day you won't have another chance. One day your story in this world will end, and in that moment, everything you chased here will stay behind. Except one thing: what you did for Allah. That's what goes with you. That's what defines what comes next. So the question is not whether Jannah is real. You already know it is. The question is, are you living like it's real? Because if you were, some things would change. Your priorities would shift. Your act would feel more valuable. Your choices would become more intentional, not because you're forced to, but because you understand what's at stake, because you've seen, even for a moment, what's waiting. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So now, this life is no longer just life, it's a path leading somewhere permanent, and every step you take is taking you closer to it, or further away. So choose carefully, because the difference is everything.